to the Walk the Line podcast. Real stories of real people.
So Bryan, great to have you on. It's a pleasure. Do you know what? This is probably the first episode I've done in a long time. So if you feel privileged, mate, to be quite honest with you. I hope you're doing well, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thanks for having me on. I look forward to our conversation.
I know, yeah. Do you know what? I had so many guests lined up last week, and I don't know what it's like at the minute where you guys are, but I came down with a throat infection. Now, I've never had a throat infection in my life before, and it was horrendous. And I'm like, I don't want to see who it was, but one of the guests from last week decided to have a little bit of a hissy fit because I was ill. So I was like, you son of a bitch. And I can't help. I can't talk. So,
Well, the first one in your life, that's pretty good.
I don't know. I feel as if when you hit I've just pushed over 40 now. I've gone over that hurdle. So now I think it's just downhill. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here drinking green tea after dinner. You know, I'll in bed before 10 o'clock at night. You know, it's like, oh my God. So yeah, we'll try my hardest to keep myself youthful. But so, Bryan, I really was quite excited to get you on, to be fair, mate. The description when you kind of messaged over, I was like, oh, I love this. So I think from what you wrote before, former DEA agent, is that correct?
That's correct. 23 years with the DEA, yes.
23 years, wow. So you were was that like kind of fresh out of like kind of high school sort of thing, or was it a little bit more than that?
Yeah, actually, I started when I was 7. I wish I looked that young.
I'm trying to pick yourself up here, buddy. Come on.
After college, I actually was a police officer for 5 years, and then I went to the DEA. So I was 28. I think I turned 28 in the academy. So
wow, okay. What made you go into it? Was it something you always wanted to do?
yeah, in high school, I was seeing the impact or actually when I was younger, I was seeing the impact that drugs were having on my community and just people around me, and I just made a decision that I wanted to be part of some type of solution. And quite frankly, I didn't know what that really meant. Law enforcement, of course, but I didn't know there was a specific agency dedicated to eradicating drugs. And I learned what the DEA was, and they were actually right down the road from me. I grew up in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C., and in Quantico, Virginia, which where there's a Marine Corps base. That's where the DEA Academy is. And
oh, wow.
So yeah, that was cool too. But yeah, so in high school, I made that decision, and somehow or another, I don't know how I fumbled into my goals, my dreams.
Not a bad way of doing it, because that must have been, was that back in like the kind of 90s sort of style? So the drug trade was rife back then, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the drug deaths were much lower than we thought they were high, right? We had all the silly commercials out there. This is your brain on drugs, and just say no campaign during the 80s with Nancy Reagan. But yeah, it was certainly a formidable time in my life.
So because over in the UK, we still had it over here, but it wasn't as, I don't think it was as, I would say as rife as it was over there, to be quite honest with you. We had like the kind of rave scene and the kind of the 90s and all that sort of stuff. It was, but I think it was like over there, like the music culture really started, like, I would probably say, pray me if I'm wrong, but the music culture had a massive influence on it, really, to be fair. It did over here.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, absolutely. And even the rave scene, right? I mean, that really hit us pretty good in the late 90s, early 2000s as well. And
nice.
Yeah.
Banging it out with the pills and the clubs and all that sort of stuff. That's it. Do you know, I drive past it. That's again how old I'm getting. I keep saying how old I am. I shouldn't say it, but when you drive past someone and the youngsters have got the windows down, you're like, turn that bloody music down, you masters. You know what I mean? Put some good music on, and it's like, you say to your daughter as well, you're like, oh, what we going to put on the music on? I was like, put Limp Bizkit or Linkin Park on. They're like, oh, that's so old. I'm like, oh my God. No, it's not. But then you think of it, it's like 20 years ago. I'm like, fuck hell.
Yeah, we're getting old.
It's mental. So you go into the DEA and all that sort of stuff. That must have been a hell of a journey you went through there, because you did 23 years. I mean, you said you could have first started when you did 5 years at the police. So it must have been, I wouldn't say like kind of easier for you. So you must have had a little bit of a kind of stepping stool from having the 5 years previous.
Oh, 100%. I am so glad I did that. I mean, I enjoyed being a police officer, and I really liked my department and the folks I worked with, but it 100% was a great stepping stone. It really helped me just talking to people and and getting a glimpse of what I would deal with at DEA. I mean, it really, truly believe it gave me a step up, from if I hadn't had that experience going into the DEA.
I always say, because I'm an ex-forces man myself, I'm ex-RAF, and my fondest times is always going back to the training. And I think the training, because I was only 19 when I joined, so I was like, I'd no idea what the fuck I was doing. So at least you had a little bit of understanding. I mean, the training aspect of these sort of things, I think, are the funniest and most memorable parts of these sort of kind of journeys. How long was the training that you had to do?
With 16-week academy, a lot of physical fitness, a lot of firearms, and a lot of academics. And then we would tie everything together with what we call practical applications, where we would have, certain parts of a kind of a long investigation, if you will. And, maybe the first part is working undercover, and the second part is, understanding surveillance. The third part is, how to effectively debrief and, and conduct an interview. And we would have actual actors, working as those people, and
Oh, wow.
and we would be evaluated on that whole process. But yeah, just a lot. It's an in-house academy. Like I said, 16. Actually, I think we were 18 weeks for my class.
18 weeks. How many months is that? That's excuse my maths. God, I can't remember.
4 months, and you get one little break, a couple day break, but other than that, that's it. And it was good. It was great. We had 49 of us, and we bonded very well.
That's good. Did the majority of the class graduate, or does it have like a low pass rate?
No, we 50 in, 49 out. We lost our first one that first week by choice. They're pretty good about. I mean, obviously, if you don't meet the standards, then you're gone. But
yeah,
you spend a lot of money on an applicant. You really want to make sure that he or she is successful.
That's it. You don't want to. Yeah, that's true. You want to make sure. So I think
it doesn't always happen, but
you got rid of one dead weight. That's the main. He said that. Get out, you loser. You don't know what you're doing. See you later, buddy. But so you went through the kind of training. I'm not going through the kind of DA stuff. What was like your kind of specialist? Is there a kind of specialist side of things you go into?
Yeah, when you graduate, you're a special agent with the DEA, and you're a criminal investigator. So you go out into your first duty assignment, and you just start working cases. There is really no specialty other than just criminal investigations with obviously emphasis in drugs, or not the emphasis, but everything's
the drugs
centered around drugs, right? And then you can definitely go off from that, if you're a pilot, if you have some special skills, maybe you speak other languages, things like that, and you can utilize that. But no, I mean, everyone graduates the same, level and the same, discipline, which is criminal investigator.
Did you stay around locally? You said around about the kind of Washington area, or did you move anywhere else?
No, I left that Washington area after high school. I went to college in Missouri, and my first duty assignment with DEA was actually in Arkansas, and then my second duty assignment was in Texas, South Texas, along the border.
Was it along the Mexican border?
Yeah, my office physical location, we were in Corpus Christi, but 98% of our work was right along the border. McAllen, on the other side, you have Reynosa there, and so I'm real familiar with that area, all the way from basically McAllen east to the Gulf of, what is it called, America now, I think. But
is it actually called Gulf of America, or is that just a nickname for it? I don't know.
That's what President Trump changed it to.
Crazy, isn't it?
So now it's what Brownsville is. So you're from Brownsville to McAllen. Yeah.
So I can imagine over that, the border between Mexico and the US, is that the main part coming through Texas? Is that the main, like the rife part where everything really kind of goes through, or is it?
I got to tell you, the first 2 or 3 years I was there, yes. Wow. There was a huge shift, but no, the answer is, I mean, from all the way from California all the way to the Gulf there, that's the Southwest border is the main area, and then the traffickers, they adjust. I mean, they'll use every part of the border, absolutely every part of the border, but they adjust well. So reason I say the first few years, we had a lot of violence in the Juarez area, which is just south of El Paso, Texas.
Right.
And for us in Texas, that shifted a lot of the traffickers further east towards Reynosa, Matamoros, and those regions of Mexico. So we saw a lot of seizures and an increased trafficking and patterns in those areas. But I mean, San Diego's busy. I mean, Tucson, Nueva Nogales. I mean, it's just that whole the whole sector there is crazy busy.
Crazy, and I kind of you see, I mean, coming from over here, you do see a lot of like kind of you see it on like the kind of news, you see it on the films and the movies that they make and all that sort of stuff. Is all these sort of, is that really kind of, is that real? When you see like what's that Tom Cruise film, American Made? Is that sort of thing actually happen, or was that just Hollywoodified? I mean, just bigged up for the screens?
Usually we have about 5-10% real mixed into 90% Hollywood, right? And they pick and choose what they want. And I get it. You gotta keep people entertained and stuff. But yeah, most of the time it's just BS.
Do you watch these films when you watch them and just sit there and just slate them all the way through and go and be that annoying guy in the corner? That would never happen. You couldn't do that. This is shit.
I was just contacted by someone, actually I think in England, and they have a either a show or something where they have experts watch movies in their field.
Nice.
They do live commentary, and they asked if I wanted to watch drug movies and give my my feedback. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, and get paid to do it.
I think I've seen that show. I think it's there's loads. I think it's Insider or something. It's a YouTube channel. I think it is.
Yeah, I know it's on YouTube. Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen a few of them. They do that, like the historians. I've seen a lot because I'm a massive fan of history, and I see all the historians going on there and talking about history movies and stuff like that. But I've seen a few of them. They do like the gangster films, and they do all like the kind of like the pilots, with the Top Gun and all that sort of stuff. And they say, "Is that real?" So that'd be awesome if you could do that. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, I'm excited. I told him I'm interested, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, look at that. Get old amongst it. Yeah, you'll be next on Joe Rogan after this, giving your expert opinion. Just remember where you started first, Brian, right? Maybe you came back, come on, walk the line first before all these famous shows snap you up. But I'm bigging myself up massively, like. So you went through all the DEA thing, I mean, you did a long time there. What would you say would be the standout moment for you? Because you mentioned as well, you were part of quite a number of different like kind of massive busts, and you also was undercover as well.
Yeah, I had a great career. I worked a variety of assignments. Memorable for me was just working with the amazing people, not just within DEA, but just all the law enforcement and other folks I worked with across the world. I mean, just absolutely dedicated professionals who just made, they made going to work fun, right? I mean, I got paid to do what I loved and what I absolutely believed in, and then I got to do it with people who were like-minded and yeah, the variety of assignments though, from working undercover to local folks to international folks, just had a little bit of everything.
When you mentioned there about like the undercover assignments, have you had any like kind of sticking moments that you might have got rumbled or like kind of made or anything like that?
No, nothing. I mean, I was pretty fortunate.
You were good at what you did.
I hope I was. One of my most there's a show on A&E called, there was a show on A&E called Undercover Con Tape.
Right. Okay.
And season 1, episode 6, the last 20 minutes is an operation that I did. It was that particular operation was more marijuana, but the organization I was working was selling methamphetamine and marijuana. And I was able to infiltrate the organization, and 2 very high level folks within this organization who were actually members of a cartel. And I was able to meet them in a hotel room and outside of Dallas, Texas, and
Jesus,
and we did a bust. And you talk about being good. I don't know if I was good or not. I got the job done, and I had an amazing team around me. But I'll tell you, look, when we all got arrested, I got arrested as well.
Yeah, have to keep this thing
all for play, like in the movies, right? And so they're looking at me with some confusion, and I'm looking at them with, confusion and anger in my eyes as well. And, trying to play the part. Right. And
yeah.
And fast forward a little bit, we were in the courthouse, and I was in suit and tie, and I was with the assistant U.S. attorney prosecuting this investigation, and a door opens, and it's a defense attorney with one of the defendants. The defendant that's the killer of the 2, if you will. That's his role, is his enforcer. And he looked at me and I looked at him and we literally had a conversation with our eyes, like,
Everybody's walked past, he goes, motherfucker. Like, you're in line.
pretty much. Because he had to have known, obviously, he had to, his attorney had to tell him, hey,
Tell him,
look,
yeah.
the guy in that room was the DEA agent, but he just wouldn't believe it until he actually saw him.
Saw you there. It must have been a strange sort of like sort of feeling and scenario sort of thing. It's like, do you ever feel as like the kind of undercover stuff might come back to haunt you?
No, I mean, I don't. No, I take precautions. I don't mind, being out there and my information's out there, but, at the end of the day, this is business, and
Gotta do what you gotta do.
you got to do what you got to do from both sides, really.
It's
There's
true.
they do their time, and typically those guys will, if they're even alive, I'd be surprised.
It's just, yeah, they might be, hopefully, fingers crossed. I shouldn't say that. It's not a nice thing to say, Teresa. But they're bad people anyway. They're bad people. They probably got a lot of people hurt on the crossfire. So he did a great thing.
It's true.
So, I mean, he did all this 23 years in the kind of DEA. It's a long time. 5 years in the cop shop, we call over here, the police. What made you finish? What made you kind of hang up your shoes?
Yeah, this gets a little deep, but I had other goals. I always say I had another chapter in my book to write, or maybe a couple more chapters in my book. So I had the option of staying with DEA for another, I guess, 7 years before I aged out, and because my retirement, the way that I had a special retirement because of what I did, and they don't let you do it forever, though. Typical government employee could, it could be 110 years old and still work for the government. And not when you're a criminal investigator for, DEA or FBI or something like that. But my dad was sick at the time. He had lung cancer and subsequently, passed. And I was going back and forth. He lived out east. And I was just thinking a lot about life. And, and I didn't, not that I was going to be, too old or anything if I stayed with DEA, but I just felt like this is the time, I mean, what am I chasing? I've loved DEA and I love what we do, but this is the time to go out there and maybe take some risks and open up some new chapters.
Some new chapters. So that makes sense. You got to look. Did you have one of those like kind of epiphany moments, when you're walking across the beach, like proper cinematic, and it's just like a shine of light came down on you? I always envision that's what happens when someone has like a reflection or a self-reflection. I think I've been watching too many films, Brian, to be quite honest with you. I think I'm the one that needs to sort myself out here. But it's good. But obviously, it must have meant you obviously had a huge reason, as you said, you got other things to do. So, what was after that? What was the goal after that? Because again, coming from a military background like myself, it's a strange sort of transition going into like that sort of grid to then back into, I would say, like we call it civil life, but I like to call it normal life. I mean, you're going through from one end of the spectrum. You're under like a high stressful job. You're constantly, you getting shot at every now and again, as you do, to basically stopping and going, okay, what's going on? What was that kind of transition like?
Yeah, the biggest threat now is a paper cut, right? It wasn't too bad. Of my 28 total years, 4 were in a non-enforcement capacity. I was actually stationed at our training academy.
Oh, okay.
I was in charge of most in-service training, and that really, I always had interest in training, speaking, things like that. But that really kind of cemented that thought where, okay, when I do leave this place one day, this is going to be part of my next career. And so that's what I did. I just was focused on what I wanted to do, and opened up my own training consulting business. And then I went to work for another organization that trains law enforcement so I could stay close to the community. And then I also opened or initiated a nonprofit organization dedicated to awareness of illicit fentanyl and other public safety threats. So,
wow,
so definitely still kind of in the drug realm, but now I kind of do it on my schedule.
That's the dream, really, isn't it? It's coming back sort of thing. That's great. So you mentioned about like the kind of the charity work, the kind of non-profit sort of thing about the basically sharing awareness. What is only 2 mg? Oh, brilliant. So what does that involve? I mean, what do you talk about there? Is it just like the awareness of drugs to the youngsters, or is it to everyone?
It's definitely to everyone, but I really enjoy talking to the young folks for sure. So only 2 mg is a reminder of how little it takes of illicit fentanyl to kill the average human being. 2 milligrams, that's it. So we're talking about a couple granules of salt or sand. So we thought it was an appropriate, you know, name for the nonprofit. And I'd gotten with some other retired DEA agents and told them what I wanted to do, and they knew I was already speaking about opioids and drugs and to other to not only law enforcement and first responders, but to young people, and they were like, "No, that's great, Brian, let's do it." And so you know, I created a board of directors. They're all retired DEA as well, and it's drug awareness and prevention, you know, and we'll talk to anyone who will listen to us, and you know, like I said, I do prefer to talk to young folks, but we'll talk to anyone. We'll talk to anywhere. We'll travel anywhere we need to. So if you need somebody there, let me know.
We'll take a look, probably good. Because the craziest part about the drug trade. It's becoming easier and easier to get hold of nowadays. I mean, because back when I was back in the 90s, it was still there, but you had to know the right people, and you had to have the right contacts. But now, I'm walking down the street. If I'm going through, if I'm just outside London, but if I'm walking down the streets of London, sort of thing, you get people walking past you, and they're like, "Do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that?" And I'm like, "Nah, mate, I'm all right." It's crazy.
It's just like in the US, and not only is it just more open in society, we also have social media.
Yeah.
You know, you can get on social media and have drugs delivered right to your house within, you know, within an hour, if not sooner, depending on, you know, where you live.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They might be doing something bad, but at least they're efficient. You know, they've got they're Uberizing the drug trade.
The gig economy, right?
Economy. I bet some guy just sat there and just had like an epiphany where he's off his nut, smoking a spliff or something, and going, "Why are we doing this? We should do this. Let's build an app together." Oh my God, get him on Shark Tank. You know, so they'll make a mint. But it's great that you're from someone from your background as well. I think that you're talking about it and showing people the bad things and the good, well, obviously the good things, but what it can actually do, the drugs can actually do. It probably means more than just a teacher at the school sort of thing. You get a lot of good reception from it.
Oh, absolutely, I do. A lot of, especially young people, well, actually from all sorts of people, but young people, a lot of times they'll come up to me and, you know, they'll give me the hug and you know, and they'll share really heartbreaking stories. But you know, you're hopefully giving them some information, right? You're hopefully empowering them to make some better decisions in their lives and know the realities of it, you know. But yeah, no, I've had so much good feedback from folks, adults, kids, everything. And that really keeps me going. I gotta tell you, you know, I've done well over 150 presentations now,
Oh my God.
and you know, in the U.S., I forget how many states I've been to, but I don't know, 28, 29, something like that, you know, and it's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
You got one of those maps in your house that you check it off every time you beat to one. I would do that. I would do that. I'd be like, right, who's next? Come on, somebody in Cleveland. Come on. I've not been in New York yet. Give me a go up there, buddy. Come on.
I have done that. I'm like, I'd really like to go there because a lot of this is privately funded. Most organizations don't pay us.
Oh, really?
They don't have the funding, and I made it a pact with myself early on that I didn't want money to be an obstacle to having a good conversation. I just didn't. So if you know, if an organization says, yeah, we'll pay for you to come, great, because I'll use that money to pay for an organization that can't afford to bring me in.
Oh, brilliant.
But yeah, so a lot of times I'll look at the map and say I want to go there, or I have a client there in my other business, and I can kind of, you know, not charge them, but you know, piggyback on it, right? As
Yeah.
the same plane ticket type thing, you know.
That's it. It's just kind of spread it around and show the love, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
you know, because you're all in the same boat. You're all doing the same thing. You're on the same team. There's no point like kind of monetizing it more or try to have a hierarchy sort of thing, you know. It's going to make it, you're doing something right out there sort of thing, which is fantastic, which is a great thing to do. Wish we do have something. I don't think we have something similar over here, to be fair. I've been out the game for a while, you see, Brian. I'm not in the game anymore, the drug game. I never have been. So if my parents are listening to this, I haven't, I swear. You know what I mean? Just like, I've got a phone call, this goes live tomorrow, going, right, what the fuck are you talking about? Nothing.
That's it.
That's it. It's just for the podcast. I swear. I just try to get it pick up with that. Do you, talking about that as well? Do you remember? When you've been in like the kind of DEA, the law enforcement stuff. Do you ever have like your friends get a bit funny when they're around you, sort of thing? They don't know how to act around you because there's like they're a bit like, oh, he's a policeman, he's in the DEA. Act normal, don't act dodgy.
I've had that, but usually it's, just obviously joking around. When I was a police officer, though, in uniform, I mean, you're expected to know everything, right? It's like, hey, do you know, so, my third cousin's brother's sister's uncle works for the New York PD, 1,500 miles away. Do you know him? Oh, of course. Yeah. We have tea every Saturday.
I know. I get that as well. It's like I get it twice. I get it with ex-forces and the RAF and the RAF, and I also get it from being Scottish because I'm Scottish. I'm living down in London. They go, "Oh, you're Scottish," and I'm like, "Yeah." I goes, "I know someone from Scotland." "Oh yeah, where's he from?" And he's like, Aberdeen. Do you know Jerome? His name's Dave. And I'm like, I'm from Glasgow. It's like a 6-hour trip. No, Do you know? Do you know Steve from Newcastle? No. Well, shut the fuck up then. You know what I mean?
Of course, they want to know what happened, right? Like, hey, I saw 4 police cars at Main Street the other day. What was going on? And you're expected to. So I said one time I thought, oh, that was a serial killer, but we caught him though, so everything's good.
They want to get your opinion on things as well. They see somebody like you mean you're over like in one side of the country, and then something's happened over like I don't know, down at, I don't know, up in Canada or something like that, and they phone you up. Hey, Brian, what happened? Do you know what the scoop is? What's happening? Like, no, leave me alone.
I still get that, yeah.
Still get that now. Do you know what? I'd have so much fun with that. I would just wind them up and just say something completely crazy. Say, oh yeah, a couple of guys came down. They've got some newfangled weapons, laser guns. You seen Star Wars before? Yeah, it's real life now.
Way.
Should have got away. So you better. Whereabouts are you? Oh yeah, we're in Milwaukee. Yeah, they're close. We heard they're traveling down there now. You're like, fuck, let's get out of here. If I mean,
better move.
Yeah, that's it. Better get the hell out of here, sort of thing. So what's next on the cards for you then, Brian? I mean, you've done so much with your career and stuff like that. I mean, what's going on next?
I gotta sleep sometime.
I say, yeah. Well, I tell you, sir, I'm 25. So.
I hope to scale the nonprofit. We're really working hard on funding. It's been difficult. A lot of folks don't like to donate to causes like this. There's a huge stigma to drug use, and that really hurts our efforts. And I don't have any politician friends in my back pocket, so the grants aren't a guarantee either. And I don't believe in fraud or abuse, so I can't do that.
Yeah, that's frowned upon,
But you think it would be, right?
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, how would you like fundraisers? Do you do like any sort of like kind of fundraisers and stuff like that coming through the year?
Yeah, absolutely, we do.
Yeah.
We do, but that's been a struggle. But I don't want to bitch. You know what? There's a lot of folks out there who really hate us, and that's great.
Bitch as much as you want. This is I'm giving you the platform to bitch, Brian. You know what I mean? If you don't bitch on here, what are you gonna bitch me? You know what I mean?
We did a Taylor Swift giveaway, an autograph, and we raised money on it. And you'd think, gosh, I mean, Taylor Swift, she's dating one of our football players.
Yeah.
But,
just nobody snapping it up.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So we're looking at some different types of giveaways and things like that, and we'll make it work. We nickel and dime everything, and that's fine.
I say, I say, I mean, the good thing about it now is that social media can be your best friend with these sort of things as well, and it's getting that sort of like kind of aspect of it. Because how I did it to get, can I get this show off the ground really was do that, but also just annoy the living shite out of every celebrity known to man. Literally, I think I went through for about 2 or 3 days straight, just DM'd every single one. I DM'd Will Smith. I did. I went on, hey, mate, I know you're having a bad time right now. I know your missus is mental, but you fancy coming on the show? He didn't message me back. I was a bit devastated of that. To be fair. But hey, there's still time. He might just be busy. It was 4 years ago, but he's okay. He's a busy man. He's a fucking busy man. But as we get yourself something like Travis Kelce or something on there, he'll be loving it. Get him involved.
Yeah,
that's Taylor Swift's husband, isn't it? Yeah, I know as far as.
Hey, call me.
Call him, Travis. Come on. I know you're listening, Travis. Come on. Get Taylor involved as well. We'll get some involved.
I would love it. Just even just 1% of their time would change the direction of what we're doing.
Well, that's it. Well, the thing is, though, Bryan, you're doing something. You're doing a great job. You're doing something that's benefiting the youngsters today and try to keep them out of trouble. Not just youngsters, but everyone, to be quite honest with you. And it's if there was one sort of bit of advice, I'd try kind of put you on the spot, but one bit of advice you'd give to someone in like a kind of a scenario that they're in that sort of kind of I would say in that sort of field, they've got themselves into some trouble with some drugs and stuff. What would you say? Drugs taken.
I gotcha. I'd say your life matters. You mean something. You matter, and that's something I tell young people all the time. Is I want you to succeed. Other strangers in your life, we want you to succeed. We want you to contribute to society. So, take care of yourself. Do what you need to do to be healthy and to live a good life.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to clip the shit out of that and post it on Instagram. That's a clip. Clip that. Get it. There's no one else here. There's just me. I don't know what I'm looking for.
Hey, where's the staff at? Come on.
That's Christ. I'm not that yet. I was going to say we should join forces here because whatever you're going through, I'm doing the same as well. Obviously, Bryan, it's been an absolute pleasure. I don't want to take too much of the time, but it's been a pleasure having you on, mate. It's been great. Where can people find you?
I'm on the internet like everyone, right? Only 2mg, www.only, and then just the number 2, and then mg, which stands for milligrams.com. So only 2mg.com. My for-profit business is called Eagle 6 Training, Eagle, the number 6, and then training.com. But happy to have a conversation. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of, and appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk to you. It was fun.
I appreciate it. Well, what we'll do, we'll put you obviously the links in the description below. So, guys, if you look in the description, have a look. All the links will be there. And when you message, say you came via the podcast, just to kind of give Bryan a little bit of kudos to say, oh, wow, this podcast guessing stuff does work. but again, Bryan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll catch up soon.
Awesome. Thank you.